Black Waitress helps CEOs' kids. They unintentionally uncover her fortune. The rain pounded against the windows of Mercy General Hospital as Eleanor Washington, her once crisp waitress uniform now stained with blood, clutched the hand of 16-year-old Lily Bennett. The monitors beeped steadily, but the doctor's grave expression said everything. Lily's younger brother, Max, sobbed quietly in the corner while their father, CEO Richard Bennett, stood frozen at the doorway, his face ashen. "I never told anyone," Eleanor whispered, her voice breaking. "Not in 40 years. Richard stepped forward, his hands trembling as he held up the faded newspaper clipping. "You're Eleanor Washington, the Eleanor Washington. You saved those children during the Birmingham church bombing. You've been a hero this whole time." Eleanor shook her head, tears streaming down her weathered face. "I'm no hero. I couldn't save them all." "But you saved me today," Lily said weakly from the hospital bed, squeezing Eleanor's hand. "And Dad needs to know the truth about the money, about everything." Richard's phone buzzed incessantly, board members demanding answers about the company's sudden stock plunge. Outside, reporters had already gathered, cameras flashing through the rain-streaked windows. "Time's up, Mr. Bennett," said the stern-faced FBI agent standing by the door. "We need to talk about those offshore accounts. Now." But let's go back to how this all started. It was just 3 hours earlier when Eleanor Washington began what seemed like just another ordinary day at Rosie's diner. The morning sun filtered through the blinds of Rosie's diner, casting warm stripes across the worn Formica countertops. Eleanor Washington, 68 years old with silver-streaked hair pulled back in her signature neat bun, moved between tables with the efficiency of someone who had been serving breakfast for over 4 decades. Her knees ached more than they used to, but her smile remained genuine as she refilled coffee cups and took orders. "Morning, sunshine," Eleanor called to Marvin, her favorite regular who'd been claiming the same corner booth every Tuesday since 1978. "The usual." Marvin adjusted his Vietnam veteran cap and nodded. "You know it, Ellie. Nobody makes pancakes like you do." Eleanor scribbled his order on her pad, though she hardly needed to. The rhythm of the diner was as familiar to her as her own heartbeat, predictable, comforting, and entirely ordinary. The bell above the door chimed, and Eleanor glanced up to see 2 teenagers enter. The girl, tall and willowy with long blonde hair, looked about 16. The boy trailing behind her appeared to be around 13, his eyes glued to his phone. Their expensive clothes and the sleek black luxury car visible through the window marked them as out of place in this modest neighborhood. "Sit anywhere you like, sweethearts," Eleanor called out, grabbing menus. The girl chose a booth by the window and slid in, finally getting her brother's attention when she yanked his earbud out. "Hey, Lily, what the boy protested. Max, will you please just exist in the real world for 5 minutes? Lily sighed, taking the menus from Eleanor with a polite smile. "Thank you," Eleanor nodded. "Can I get you something to drink while you decide?" "Just water for me," Lily said. Max finally looked up. "Do you have strawberry milkshakes?" "Best in town," Eleanor assured him with a wink. As Eleanor walked away, she overheard Lily's hushed voice. "Dad's going to kill us if he finds out we ditched the driver and the college tour." Eleanor returned with their drinks a few minutes later. "Ready to order?" Lily ordered avocado toast, while Max requested a double cheeseburger with extra fries despite his sister's eye-rolling. "It's 10 in the morning, Max," Lily chided. "We serve breakfast all day, but the burgers are good any time too," Eleanor assured them. As she wrote down their order, she noticed the newspaper tucked under Lily's arm, the financial section of the Boston Globe with a headline about Bennett Enterprises and a photo of Richard Bennett, the CEO who had been making headlines with his company's rapid expansion. "That your daddy?" Eleanor asked, nodding toward the paper. Lily looked startled. "How did you look just like him, around the eyes," Eleanor said. "Plus, I keep up with the news. Your father's made quite a name for himself." Max perked up. "Do you know who our dad is?" "Everyone knows Richard Bennett these days," Eleanor said mildly. "Self-made man turned a small tech company into Bennett Enterprises. Very impressive." Lily studied Eleanor with newfound interest. "You don't seem like the type to follow business news." Eleanor's laugh was warm and rich. "Child, at my age, you learn a little about everything. Besides, I like to know who's changing the world for better or worse." She tapped the counter. "I'll get your orders in." As Eleanor moved back to the kitchen, she felt a familiar twinge in her chest that had nothing to do with her arthritis. Richard Bennett's face had stirred memories she'd kept carefully locked away for decades. Lily exclaimed, "We didn't know anything about this." "I believe you," Eleanor assured her. "But the FBI will need to speak with you regardless. I've arranged for us to go to the federal building in 2 hours. That gives us some time to figure things out." Max looked terrified. "Are they going to arrest us too?" No, honey, they just need to ask you some questions. Eleanor sat down across from them. But before we go, there's something I need to tell you both, something important. Lily and Max exchanged worried glances. Eleanor took a deep breath. The truth is, I know your father. Or I did a long time ago. What? Lily's eyes widened. How? It was 1972. I was working at a diner much like Rosie's, saving money for college. Your father was just a boy then, about 8 years old. His family wasn't wealthy, quite the opposite. His father worked at the steel mill and his mother cleaned houses. Max leaned forward. Dad told us his parents died when he was young. He said he grew up in foster care. Eleanor nodded. That part is true. There was an accident at the mill. His father was killed and his mother, she couldn't cope. She took her own life a year later. That's awful, Lily whispered. It was, Eleanor agreed. Richard and his younger sister Anna were placed in foster care. They were separated, which was common back then. Richard was a bright child, always fascinated by machines and how things worked. I used to save the newspaper crossword puzzles for him. He could finish them in minutes. How did you know him so well? Max asked. Eleanor smiled sadly. His foster home was on my route to work. I'd see him waiting for the school bus every morning, usually alone. One day it was pouring rain and he didn't have a coat. I stopped and gave him mine. After that we became friends. I'd bring him books, help him with homework sometimes. Dad never mentioned any of this, Lily said, suspicion creeping into her voice. I'm not surprised. It wasn't a happy time in his life. Eleanor stood and walked to a cabinet in the corner. From inside, she removed a small wooden box and brought it back to the coffee table. I kept in touch with Richard until he went to college. He was so determined, so brilliant. He got a full scholarship to MIT. We know that part, Max said. He tells that story all the time, how he built his first computer in his dorm room. Eleanor opened the box and removed an old, yellowed envelope. He wrote to me during his first year. So excited about his ideas about the future, then the letters stopped coming. What happened? Lily asked. Life, I suppose. He was becoming the man he wanted to be, leaving the past behind. Eleanor unfolded the letter carefully. In his last letter, he told me about a computer program he was developing. He was so passionate about it. He said it would change everything. Lily reached for the letter, reading it with wide eyes. This is Dad's handwriting. Dear Ms. Eleanor, she read aloud. I've done it. The program works. Professor Jameson says it could be worth millions someday. I wish you could see it. Eleanor nodded. That program became the foundation of Bennett Enterprises. He was right. It was worth millions, eventually billions. I don't understand, Max said. If you were so close, why didn't you stay in touch? Why didn't he ever mention you? Eleanor carefully took the letter back, folding it along its well-worn creases. Richard was building a new life for himself. The boy from the poor neighborhood, the foster care system, that wasn't who he wanted to be anymore. So he just forgot about you? Lily asked, indignant. No, honey, he moved on, and so did I. Eleanor replaced the letter in the box, but I never stopped following his career. I was so proud of what he accomplished. Wait, Max said, his brow furrowed in concentration. You said earlier that you made an investment in a computer company in the 80s. Was that? Eleanor smiled. Yes. When Bennett Enterprises went public in 1986, I invested everything I had my life savings, about $20,000. Everyone thought I was crazy to put it all in one company, but I believed in Richard's vision. Lily's jaw dropped. That investment would be worth a considerable amount today, Eleanor finished for her. I've lived simply all these years, but yes, that investment changed my financial situation dramatically. So you're rich? Max asked bluntly. I prefer financially comfortable, Eleanor said with a small laugh. The money isn't what matters is what you do with it. Lily was still processing this revelation. So you've known who we were all along, even this morning at the diner. I recognized you from photos I'd seen in articles about your father, Eleanor admitted. But our meeting today was pure coincidence, or perhaps fate. Max stood up abruptly. This is weird. Why are you telling us all this now? Eleanor's expression grew serious. Because you need to understand that your father wasn't always the man described in those news articles. He was once a kind, brilliant boy with dreams bigger than the world was ready for. And because I think I might be able to help you. Help us how? Lily asked cautiously. Your father made some mistakes, serious ones from the sound of it, but I don't believe he intended to abandon you. I think he was desperate and made bad choices. How could you possibly know that? Lily challenged. Eleanor reached for her laptop again. Because I've been monitoring some of his company's activities for years. I may be an old waitress, but I understand money, how it moves, how it hides. I've had a lot of time to learn. She pulled up a complex-looking financial website and logged in. The siblings watched in amazement as page after page of financial data appeared. These are transfers from Bennett Enterprises to various offshore accounts, Eleanor explained. But if you look closely at the pattern, she pointed to several transactions, you can see that most of the money was being channeled back into research and development, not into your father's personal accounts. What does that mean? Max asked. It means your father was hiding money from investors and the government, yes, but not necessarily for personal gain. He was funding something off the books, something he didn't want anyone to know about. Lily studied the screen intently. Project Phoenix, she read from one of the transaction notes. I've heard him mention that on phone calls. He always stopped talking when he realized I was nearby. Whatever Project Phoenix is, it's where most of the hidden money went, Eleanor said. We need to find out what it is. Max looked at his sister. Dad's personal laptop, he never lets it out of his sight. He even has a special briefcase for it with a fingerprint lock. Lily's eyes widened. The briefcase is in his study. I know the code to his house alarm. No, Eleanor said firmly. You cannot go back to your house. It's certainly being watched by both the FBI and the press by now. Then how do we find out what Project Phoenix is? Lily demanded. Eleanor closed her laptop. We ask someone who might know. I'm going to make another call. She stepped away again with her flip phone, this time calling a different number. James Washington, answered a male voice. James, it's Mom. Mom, is everything okay? You never call in the middle of the day. I need your help, son. It's about Richard Bennett. A pause. The tech CEO who just got arrested, what about him? I need you to look into something called Project Phoenix. It's a secret initiative at Bennett Enterprises. Mom, what's going on? How are you mixed up in this? I'll explain everything later. Right now, I need you to use your cybersecurity expertise. Can you dig into this for me, quietly? Another pause. This could cost me my job if anyone found out. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, James. There are two teenagers whose lives are falling apart, and I think this might help them understand why. A sigh. Give me an hour, and Mom, be careful. Eleanor returned to find Lily and Max huddled together on the couch, talking in hushed tones. They fell silent when she entered. My son is going to look into Project Phoenix, Eleanor told them. He works in cybersecurity for a major bank. Anyone can find information without leaving digital footprints. It's James. Why are you doing all this for us? Lily asked, her voice small. Eleanor sat down across from them. Because a long time ago, someone did something similar for me. When I was about your age, my world fell apart too. A bomb destroyed not just a church, but my sense of safety, my faith in humanity. A stranger helped me find my way through the darkness. I've never forgotten that kindness. The church bombing, Max said. You were there, Eleanor nodded. Yes, I was supposed to be in Sunday school that morning, but I was running late. I was still a block away when the explosion happened. I ran toward it instead of away. I found children trapped in the rubble, helped get them out before the building collapsed further. The article said you saved 7 children, Lily remembered. 8, actually, Eleanor corrected. The newspapers got it wrong. 7 from the Sunday school class, and 1 little boy who had wandered away from his mother just before the blast. A notification chimed on Eleanor's laptop. She opened it to find an encrypted message from her son. James found something, she said, scanning the message. Project Phoenix is a medical research initiative. Bennett Enterprises has been secretly funding advanced cancer treatment research for years, focusing specifically on pancreatic cancer. Lily gasped. That's what Mom died from. 3 years ago, Eleanor nodded. Your father has been pouring company resources into finding better treatments, possibly even a cure. That's where the hidden money was going. So he wasn't stealing, Max said, hope in his voice. He was trying to help people like Mom. The methods were still illegal, Eleanor cautioned. Hiding corporate funds, evading taxes, those are serious crimes, regardless of the motivation. But it changes things, doesn't it? Lily insisted. If he was doing it to help people, not just to get rich. It might affect sentencing, but not the charges themselves, Eleanor said gently. Your father broke the law. Max stood up, pacing. We need to tell someone, the FBI, the prosecutors. Someone needs to know why Dad did this. We will, Eleanor promised. But we need evidence. James is still digging. Another notification appeared. Eleanor's expression grew grave as she read it. What is it? Lily asked anxiously. Project Phoenix wasn't just research. Your father was planning to announce a breakthrough today, a new treatment protocol that early trials suggest could extend life expectancy for pancreatic cancer patients by years, not months. He was going to donate the patents to a nonprofit foundation, making the treatment available at minimal cost. That's amazing, Max exclaimed. It is, Eleanor agreed. But there's more. The research was conducted outside normal channels without proper FDA oversight. Some of the trial participants didn't know they were part of an experimental program. Lily's face fell. That's not okay. No, it's not, Eleanor confirmed. Your father may have had good intentions, but his methods crossed ethical and legal lines. Max slumped back onto the couch. So he's still the bad guy. Life isn't that simple, Eleanor said. People can do wrong things for right reasons. It doesn't excuse the wrong, but it helps us understand it. Lily checked her phone again. It's been hours and Dad still hasn't called. Do you think they're letting him make phone calls? Eventually, yes, Eleanor assured her. But these first hours are intense. He's probably being questioned nonstop. A final message appeared from James. Eleanor read it silently, her face paling. What now? Lily asked, alarmed. Eleanor looked up gravely. Your father left a video message on a secure server. It was set to be released automatically if he didn't enter a code by noon today. What does it say? Max demanded. James sent me the link. Eleanor turned the laptop so they could see. It's addressed to both of you. With trembling fingers, Lily pressed play. Richard Bennett's face filled the screen. He looked exhausted, his normally perfectly groomed appearance disheveled. His eyes were red-rimmed, as if he hadn't slept in days. Lily, Max, he began, his voice raspy. If you're seeing this, then things have gone very wrong. I've been discovered before Project Phoenix could be completed. By now, you'll have heard all sorts of things about me: criminal, fraud, thief. Some of those things are technically true. He ran a hand through his hair. What started as a mission to find a cure for the disease that took your mother became an obsession. I convinced myself that the rules didn't apply when the goal was so important. I broke laws. I betrayed people's trust. I thought the end justified the means. Richard's voice broke. I was wrong, and now I'm going to pay the price, but I want you to know that I never, ever planned to leave you behind. The emergency passports were for all of us a last resort if everything fell apart. I couldn't bear the thought of not completing your mother's treatment, of letting her down again. Tears streamed down his face now. I'm so sorry for what I've done, for the shame I've brought on our family. But Project Phoenix is real, and it works. The research data is being sent to legitimate research hospitals around the world right now. Your mother's death won't have been in vain. He leaned closer to the camera. There's an account I set up years ago, before all of this. It's in your names, untouched by company finances. It should be enough for college, for a start in life. The access information is in the safe behind your mother's portrait. You know the one. Richard wiped his eyes. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I'll go to prison or for how long. But I want you both to know that everything I did, however misguided, was because I love you. I couldn't save your mother, but maybe Project Phoenix will save someone else's. The video ended. Lily and Max sat in stunned silence, tears streaming down their faces. Eleanor closed the laptop gently. Your father made terrible mistakes, but he loves you very much. We have to help him, Max said suddenly. We have to tell people about Project Phoenix, about why he did it. We will, Eleanor promised. But first we need to go to the federal building. The authorities need to know you're safe and they'll have questions for you. Will you come with us? Lily asked, her voice small. Of course, Eleanor assured her. I'm not going anywhere. As they prepared to leave, Eleanor's flip phone rang again. It was Marcus. Eleanor, where are you? We had an agreement. We're on our way, Marcus. But there's something you need to know about Richard Bennett and Project Phoenix. Project Phoenix? How do you know about that? It's a long story, but those children have evidence that might help you understand their father's actions, not excuse them, but understand them. Bring whatever you have, and Eleanor, be prepared for a long night. As they gathered their things, Max suddenly clutched his stomach, doubling over in pain. Max! Lily rushed to her brother's side. What's wrong? My stomach, he gasped. It really hurts. Eleanor knelt beside him, placing a hand on his forehead. He's burning up. How long have you been feeling sick, honey? Since lunch, Max admitted through gritted teeth. But it just got really bad. Eleanor exchanged a worried look with Lily. We need to get him to a hospital. But the FBI, Lily began. We'll have to wait, Eleanor said firmly. Your brother needs medical attention now. They helped Max to Eleanor's old Buick parked behind the building. By the time they settled him in the backseat, his skin had taken on a grayish pallor and he was sweating profusely. Mercy General is closest, Eleanor said as she started the car. Hang on, Max. It hurts so bad, Max whimpered, curled into a fetal position. Lily sat in the back with him, holding his hand. Just breathe, Max. We're going to get help. The rain had started again, pounding against the windshield as Eleanor navigated the rush-hour traffic. She called Marcus again to explain the emergency. The boy is seriously ill. We're heading to Mercy General. Send someone there if you need to. As they pulled up to the emergency entrance, Max suddenly cried out in agony, his body rigid with pain. Help! Lily shouted as they burst through the ER doors. My brother needs help. Medical staff rushed forward with a gurney. A doctor began immediate assessment as they rolled Max toward an examination room. Possible appendicitis, the doctor called out. Get an ultrasound, CBC, and prep an OR just in case. OR, Lily repeated, panicked. You mean surgery. If it's his appendix and it's ruptured, yes, the doctor explained quickly. Are you family? I'm his sister, Lily said. Our father isn't. He can't be reached right now. The doctor looked to Eleanor. Are you a relative? Family friend, Eleanor said. The children are in my care temporarily. We need consent for treatment, the nurse said. If the father can't be reached, I'll sign whatever's needed, Lily insisted. I'm 16, please just help him. The doctor nodded. We'll do our best. Wait here, we'll update you as soon as we know more. As Max was wheeled away, Lily collapsed into a waiting room chair, finally breaking down completely. Eleanor sat beside her, holding her as she sobbed. It's too much, Lily cried. Dad arrested our whole life falling apart, and now Max. What if he don't think like that? Eleanor said firmly. Your brother is young and strong, and he's getting excellent care. As they waited, Eleanor noticed two men in suits enter the emergency room, scanning the area until they spotted her. FBI agents, no doubt, sent by Marcus. Miss Bennett, one of them said, approaching Lily. I'm Agent Donovan with the FBI. We need to ask you some questions about your father. My brother just went into emergency surgery, Lily said incredulously. Can't this wait? I'm afraid it's urgent, Agent Donovan insisted. We believe your father may have. Step back, Eleanor said, standing between Lily and the agents. That girl's brother is fighting for his life right now. Whatever questions you have can wait until we know he's okay. Ma'am, this is a federal investigation, and that is a 16-year-old girl whose entire world is collapsing, Eleanor shot back. Have some humanity, young man. The second agent put a hand on Donovan's arm. We can wait until there's news about the boy. He turned to Eleanor. But we will need to speak with both of you, and we'll need to see that video message and any other evidence regarding Project Phoenix. Eleanor nodded. You'll have it all. Just give us some peace until we know Max is all right. The agents retreated to the other side of the waiting room but remained vigilant. Lily looked up at Eleanor with tear-stained cheeks. Thank you, she whispered, for everything today, for being here. Eleanor squeezed her hand. That's what friends do, and whether you knew it or not, your family and mine have been connected for a very long time. Lily wiped her eyes. I don't understand how Dad could never have mentioned you, especially if you helped him when he was young. People compartmentalize their lives, Eleanor said gently. The Richard I knew was very different from the man who became your father. Sometimes it's easier to keep the past in the past. A thought suddenly occurred to Lily. The newspaper article about the bombing, it said you saved 8 children. Was one of them? Eleanor smiled sadly. Yes, the little boy who had wandered away from his mother was your father. Richard was just 4 years old, visiting the church with his aunt. When the bomb went off, he was in a hallway, separated from the other children. I found him under a fallen bookcase, terrified but mostly unharmed. Lily's eyes widened. You saved Dad's life. I just helped him out of a bad situation, Eleanor said modestly. Your father saved himself, built himself into the man he became through his own brilliance and determination. But he would have died without you, Lily insisted. I wouldn't exist. Max wouldn't exist. Eleanor smiled. I've thought about that many times over the years. How one moment, one decision can change the course of so many lives. Before Lily could respond, the doctor returned, still in surgical scrubs. Both women stood anxiously. Max is going to be fine, the doctor announced, smiling tiredly. It was his appendix and we removed it just in time. Another hour and it would have ruptured, causing a much more serious infection. Lily sagged with relief. Thank God, can I see him? He's in recovery now. Once he's moved to a room, you can visit briefly. He'll need to stay overnight for observation, but barring complications, he should be able to go home tomorrow. Thank you, doctor, Eleanor said sincerely. As the doctor left, the FBI agents approached again. Miss Bennett, now that your brother is stable, we really do need to speak with you. Lily looked to Eleanor, who nodded encouragingly. It's all right. Tell them everything you know about Project Phoenix. Show them the video. Your father made mistakes, but his intentions matter. For the next hour, Lily answered the agents' questions, showing them the video message from her father and explaining everything they had learned about Project Phoenix. Eleanor provided the financial information her son had uncovered, careful to protect James's identity. This doesn't exonerate Mr. Bennett, Agent Donovan said when they finished. But it does paint a more complete picture. The prosecutor will take this into consideration. The second agent, whose name was Miller, was more sympathetic. For what it's worth, Miss Bennett, I believe your father genuinely thought he was doing the right thing. That doesn't make it legal, but it does make it human. A nurse appeared to inform them that Max had been moved to a room and was awake, asking for his sister. The agents agreed to continue their questioning the next day, leaving Lily and Eleanor to visit Max. They found him pale but alert, an IV in his arm and monitors beeping steadily beside his bed. His face lit up when he saw them. Hey, he said weakly. Did they cut me open? Lily smiled through fresh tears. Yeah, they did. Your appendix free now. Cool, Max mumbled. Can I see the scar? Later, Eleanor chuckled. How are you feeling? Weird, kind of floaty. He frowned suddenly. Did I miss the FBI? Did you tell them about Dad and Project Phoenix? I told them everything, Lily assured him. They're going to take it into consideration. Max's eyelids drooped. Is Dad going to go to jail? Lily and Eleanor exchanged glances. Probably, Lily admitted, but maybe not for as long as we feared, and the research he did, it's going to help people, Max. Mom would be proud of that part. Max nodded slowly, fighting to stay awake. Eleanor saved Dad's life, he murmured. Did you know that? She's like our guardian angel or something. Eleanor smiled gently. Rest now, Max. We'll be right here when you wake up. As Max drifted off to sleep, Eleanor and Lily sat in the chairs beside his bed. The storm outside had intensified, rain lashing against the windows. I never got to ask, Lily said quietly. After you invested in Dad's company, after you became wealthy, why did you keep working at the diner all these years? Eleanor considered the question. The money gave me freedom, security. It let me help my family, put my son through college debt-free, set up trust funds for my grandchildren. But the diner, that gave me purpose, connection, a place where I belonged. But you could have done anything, gone anywhere. I was exactly where I wanted to be, Eleanor said simply. Money doesn't change who you are, only what you can do. I chose to stay in that community to serve those people. It was never just a job to me. Lily was thoughtful. I think I understand. It's like Dad with Project Phoenix. The money, the company, those weren't the point. The purpose was what mattered. Exactly, Eleanor nodded, though your father's methods were questionable. What's going to happen to us now? Lily asked, her voice small again. If Dad goes to prison, you'll be all right, Eleanor assured her. Your father set aside that money for you both, and you have other resources, other people who care about you. Like you, Lily asked. Eleanor smiled. Yes, like me, if you want. A commotion in the hallway drew their attention. Through the door's window, they could see a man arguing with the FBI agents and hospital security. Even from a distance, his identity was clear, Richard Bennett. Dad, Lily gasped, rushing to the door. Richard burst into the room, disheveled and frantic. Lily, Max, are you all right? They told me Max had surgery, Mr. Bennett, Agent Donovan said sternly, following him in. You are not authorized to be here. You're still in federal custody. My son is in the hospital, Richard snapped. Nothing was going to keep me away. Dad, Lily cried, throwing herself into her father's arms. Max is okay, it was his appendix, but they got it out in time. Richard held his daughter tightly, then moved to Max's bedside, gently touching his sleeping son's face. Thank God, he whispered. He finally noticed Eleanor standing quietly in the corner. For a long moment he stared at her in disbelief. Eleanor, he said, his voice barely audible. Eleanor Washington, Eleanor nodded. Hello, Richard, it's been a long time. I don't understand, Richard said, looking between Eleanor and his children. How are you here? How do you know my children? It's a long story, Lily said, but Eleanor's been taking care of us since everything happened. She's been amazing, Dad. Richard's eyes never left Eleanor's face. You haven't changed a bit. Eleanor laughed softly. That's a kind lie. I've changed plenty. Mr. Bennett, Agent Donovan interrupted. I'm sorry, but we need to go. The judge only granted this visit because of your son's medical emergency. Richard nodded but turned back to Eleanor. I never told them, he said quietly. About the bombing, about what you did, I never told anyone. I know, Eleanor said gently. I never forgot, Richard continued, his voice thick with emotion. I just couldn't face it, couldn't face you. After everything you did for me, I just disappeared. I was ashamed. There was nothing to be ashamed of, Eleanor assured him. You built an extraordinary life, Richard. You have extraordinary children. I've ruined everything, Richard said, his voice breaking. The company, our reputation, their future. No, Lily interrupted firmly. We know about Project Phoenix, Dad. We know why you did what you did. It was wrong, but we understand. Richard looked stunned. How did you? We found your video message, Lily explained. Eleanor helped us understand what it meant. We showed it to the FBI. Richard turned to Eleanor again. You're still saving me after all these years. Eleanor shook her head. Your children are saving you this time. Their love, their understanding, that's what matters now. Mr. Bennett, Agent Donovan said more insistently. We need to go. Richard hugged Lily once more, then leaned down to kiss Max's forehead. Tell him I love him when he wakes up. Tell him I'm sorry for everything. We'll visit you, Lily promised, tears streaming down her face again. Wherever they take you, we'll come see you. Richard nodded, unable to speak. As the agents led him toward the door, he paused beside Eleanor. Thank you, he whispered, for being there for them when I couldn't be. That's what friends do, Eleanor said, echoing her earlier words to Lily. After Richard was gone, Lily returned to her brother's bedside, emotionally exhausted. "He looks so peaceful," she remarked, watching Max sleep. "He's going to be fine," Eleanor assured her. "You both are." "How can you be so sure?" Lily asked. Eleanor smiled. "Because I've seen what happens when people face impossible situations and find their way through. I've lived it, your father lived it, and now so will you." The rain had stopped, and a thin ray of sunset light broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow across Max's sleeping form. Outside the window, a rainbow arched across the sky, a promise, perhaps, that even after the darkest storms, beauty and hope remain. "I never told anyone," Eleanor whispered, her voice breaking. "Not in 40 years." Richard stepped forward, his hands trembling as he held up the faded newspaper clipping. "You're Eleanor Washington, the Eleanor Washington. You saved those children during the Birmingham church bombing. You've been a hero this whole time." Eleanor shook her head, tears streaming down her weathered face. "I'm no hero. I couldn't save them all. But you saved me today," Lily said weakly from the hospital bed, squeezing Eleanor's hand. "And Dad needs to know the truth about the money, about everything." Richard's phone buzzed incessantly, board members demanding answers about the company's sudden stock plunge. Outside, reporters had already gathered, cameras flashing through the rain-streaked windows. "Time's up, Mr. Bennett," said the stern-faced FBI agent standing by the door. "We need to talk about those offshore accounts, now." But Richard didn't move. Instead, he looked at Eleanor with newfound understanding and respect. "All these years," he whispered, "you were watching over us all along." Eleanor smiled through her tears. "Family doesn't have to be blood, Richard. Sometimes it's the people who pick you up when you fall." Max stirred in the corner, his face still pale from surgery. "Does this mean we're going to be okay?" Eleanor took his hand in one of hers and Lily's in the other. "Yes," she said with the certainty of someone who had weathered many storms. "Different maybe, but okay." Outside, the rain began to ease and a thin ray of sunlight broke through the clouds. Thank you for listening. If this story touched you, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.